Welcome to Moonlight Madness, and today we're doing the sign of fire, sun, moon and rising. So this could be a Leo, a Sagittarian or an Aries sign. And I've got my card that I'm using if you wanted to have a personal reading. You can contact that email. The phone number's changed. It's 0476 018 625. The decks I'm using today are the map, the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reid, The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid, and The Fairy Tarot by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that we've had an interesting development in the last 4 weeks. I had a vision of a ship, a missile, being launched from Cape Canaveral up against all this water, unless there was water, and then this missile was launched, and it had the American red, white and blue fumes coming from underneath the missile. And I picked that up as being, we're either going to go to war in July, as in July, I think it's their Remembrance Day is July, or it's to do with, there will be a war coming soon because America will fight back. What I did see was the missile going up 4 weeks ago, and then we had the sightings of the 4 balloons that came out of nowhere and they shot them down. So I'm a little concerned that we're heading to what I saw before COVID happened. In 2018 I saw a war and I didn't see any survivors. In fact, all I saw was a patrol car with an Air Force person checking for signs of life. So the Emperor of China, if you're listening to this, I strongly advise you against starting a war, because you'll be responsible for wiping out the entire race of humankind, and you won't get to be the winner. No one's winning here. Everyone and everything's dead. There is not a bird. There is not an animal left. All I heard was the hounds of hell when I crossed over to the other side, when I got this vision. And everything was ice. It was like Hiroshima all over again. So it was nuclear. It was done. Everyone was dead. And I was just a ghost wandering around, listening for the hounds of hell. So if he's listening, the Emperor, be kind. Go back to good company, good feelings between the countries. You can work it out. You're a compassionate leader. You have a brain, you have a mind, you have a heart, and you have a soul. And you are worried about the world, because I picked up the Emperor. And the Emperor's got the world and the scepter. He's handling the scepter with the world. You have the world in the palm of your hands. You have the ability to make it die and there's no life left, or the ability to thrive. And we know we can thrive together if we work together. So I get this reading is not just about romance. It's also about working together as a united nations. Coming together for the basic human rights of the world. The first card I pulled was for the Ace of Spring. So someone around you, fire sign, likes you. You've got their attention, their full attention, if you know what I mean. Something physical could be standing to attention when you're around. And so you've got this glow about you, this glow up. I don't know what's happening, but be fearless and pursue your most treasured dreams. Career opportunities. You've got new career opportunities coming for you. And don't think that they've gone away. You may have been blacklisted for a while. Perhaps you've been unwell and you're just coming back into your energy again. You're feeling back to your old self. And because you're back to your old self, because you've been hibernating and getting well and looking after you and just doing you, you're more attractive to people like employers, possible romantic overtures from other people. And one of them in particular could be from a Leo, because you've got the sun. The sun always represents to me, the sun is the world. Like, they light up the room. They like to teach. They could be teachers. You could be a teacher as well. They are funny. They are very generous of nature. The sun, and you may have a sun in Leo, and Leos love attention, but they like you to have attention too, but don't overshadow them. They don't like being upstaged. They could be an actor or an actress. They could be on stage in like a little community theatre type group, but they love the applause is what I'm getting. And so all the sunflowers trying to get their attention is because they have lots of people that want to be around them. They want to be in their energy and to get acknowledgement and recognition. You may be looking at going back to college, learning something new, because you've got the horse there, fast moving energy, and the horn, which is to do with purity. You may be doing a detox, you might be on a cleanse, and you're trying to get rid of the toxins out of your life so that you can be a healthier version of you, because you may have been unwell over Christmas or for quite some time. It's saying in the past you had 7 options. You had 7 parts of your life you were trying to juggle. So it's saying you can't devote all that energy to 7 different projects. You have to focus on just one of them. So whether it be career, whether it be money, whether it be assets, whether it be your health, your diet, your lifestyle, people, you may have to choose which one, because if you don't, it'll just dissolve into fairy dust. It's not real. It's imaginary. You may have imaginary friends, or you may have an imagination that is like a daydream. You may daydream through the day, and you may think you've got all these opportunities, but in fact you've got to pick one. So if you're looking for jobs in the past, your lack of focus on one job was the reason you didn't get that job. But there's new opportunities coming. Then you've got the Emperor. This represents all the 4 kings. This represents the Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, Pentacles. It represents the discernment and the logic of the King of Swords. It also represents the King of Cups, which is the compassionate, empathetic leader. And it also represents King of Cups, and it also represents the King of Wands. So it's telling you that you need to be mindful that you are all of these 4 people. You're all 4 kings. You would be a really good leader if you needed to. And then I've picked up in the top card is the Star. Now the Star card represents here is the healing nature that you have over people. Maybe people come to you for advice, or if they're feeling down, you lift their spirits up. Maybe you've been on a new type of diet exercise program and it's starting to pay off, and your skin's looking really good and your hair's looking really good and you're just looking very attractive. You're looking like the star of the show. It's got here the great here, the chalice, the well, which is where all the kings walk before they become coronated as the new king, new queen of the United Empire, or the United Kingdom. So if you're a leader, then you're about to be coronated very soon. And they walk along the well's line of where the water runs to the well. It's been there for centuries, and the kings and queens do this, which leads up to the Glastonbury Castle, where they are coronated and they are sworn in as the next king. And then when they are buried in the Glastonbury Church. All the kings and queens, over 70 of them, are there now, and have been buried there since the 1800s. King Henry VIII, all of them are buried there. And that's where the Queen was recently buried. So all the kings and queens of past have been buried there. And some of them were Norwegian kings and queens that fell in battle when they had the Vikings that came and invaded England and stole the Book of Kells, and then ripped pages off it because it was made of gold, and then they had to hide it into it's called the Book of Kells, because it was 5 roads that led into this certain church that held the Book of Kells under a lock and key in Inlands Land, I think it was, and then to Dublin, because they had to Iona, they had to put it there to keep it away from the Vikings, because they were going to try and steal it. And it was a sacred book, and it was made with gold dust and gold cover, and some of it's been missing for a while now, but it's hidden from view, and it's meant to be a sacred book. And if you hurt the book, you hurt the church. I was named after the Book of Kells, so I'm very resonate with that story. And then we've got here the Two of Cups. So you've got here someone coming, you're falling in love or making a serious commitment to someone. Forgiveness and the resolution of a problem. Don't give up. Obviously, you can rectify any disagreement you have with someone, a partner that you may be an Aquarian, because the star can represent an Aquarian, and you can heal this if you wanted to. It's not the end. It's just you need to work on it a little bit more and try to understand where each other's coming from. Then you've got the Princess of Spring. This is to do with a fire sign. You could be involved with someone who could have fire heavily placed in their chart. They could have an Aries rising, or they could have a Leo placement, or a Sagittarian placement very strong in their chart. They're the life of the party. They're creative, they're fun, they're optimistic, they're energetic. it's time to go after your dreams, do something and expand your horizons. They could be an events manager, or they used to plan events in the past, like promotions and things like of nature. Like I used to be an events manager for Clarins back in the day, and Clarins used to have these facial events that would be over the course of a week or two to launch their gift with purchase, which was 6 to 8 pieces, which would last them for 6 months. So it was really good. You got facial, signature facial, and you got a free gift if you spent over 2 products. So 2 products would equal a certain amount of money, and you get the gift as well as a facial. So it was totally worth the while of doing that. And if I had to think back, it was 2011, 2012, when things started to go pear-shaped for me living in Brisbane. We had a problem with Clarins. We lost our supporter of the brand, which was Trimex, which is the Australian partnership with France. And Trimex used to handle all the business and all the promotions for Clarins. And they had Clarins was one of the members on the board who used to handle in the Australian arena. So they sacked all of the Trimex people, including my manager, the CEO, and all the account managers were replaced, and it just fell on one person's shoulders to do all of it because they went through this massive change. If I had have noticed then, I should have noticed, because that meant that we had problems with France. France must have been butting heads with Australia at that time because they sacked all the Australian component. And then I went to work for Shiseido in 2013, and I thought, oh, this is a really big company. Japan is Japanese. It worked in well with my children's working life, as in school life, so I could be a parent as well as a manager at 2IC. And I went to that job and loved it. Had the most beautiful products. I used to massage with this cherry blossom massage cream that you could put on the face but also on the body, the upper decollage, and I loved it. And the whole room used to smell like cherry blossoms, and that's now been discontinued. You can't get it anymore. And then Shiseido has now left the building in Maya. So I went back to where I used to work just to pop my head in, and didn't realise that Maya has lost 3 major accounts. They've lost Shiseido, they've lost Chanel, both French companies. They've lost Napoleon, which is a Greek company. I think it's run by a Greek person. I think it's Australian, but he's Greek. So we may have issues with Greece at the moment, and possibly France, because we've not got them. They've been pulled from the store, and now you can only get Shiseido in Mecca or online, which tells me we're having issues with Japan at the moment. So if you notice what companies are disappearing from view or disappearing from Australian shores, that tells me we're in trouble. We're readying up for a war, and this has been coming since 2012. If I can think back when all these things started happening. And I took it personally because I really loved my job. I was invested into that job. I used to do 60-hour weeks, and I got pneumonia out of it. I was very dedicated to I used to take towels home and wash the Clarins towels in my own washing machine so that they wouldn't have to do that. It would save them time and energy and money, and I would have my towels ready for the next facial event. I used to do all the facial events because the people that did my facial events were too pushy and drove my customers away, so I didn't want to lose my customers. Specifically the ones that followed me from Maya to David Jones, and then back from David Jones to Maya. They followed me because I had a following, because I was really good with customer service and with people. And being a therapist, you're not just doing beauty therapy, you are actually counselling people when you're in there. So I had the skills of listening. And I've got here the 8 of Cups. This is talking about possibly you going to leave a place, the desire for a more meaningful life, choosing to move on, making life changes that are massive for you. You might decide that you don't want to live where you live anymore, or live in the same country or the same state anymore, and you packed your bags up and left. And there's still 1 cup remaining. You've got 8 cups, and maybe 7 of them fell over. So 7 opportunities have fallen over, and the jobs you thought you were going to get didn't materialise. But you've still got that 1 cup, that one piece, that 1 cup that could be hopeful. So not to discount that you still have a chance. And then we have here the balance card. This is to do with making balanced decisions. You could be involved with a Libra. Or I just was starting my reading, and my son tried to call me, he's a Libra. So this was warning me, he was trying to call, and I can't stop because I don't know how to redo this, so I'm leaving it as I am. But it's talking about juggling or balancing, negative and positive emotions, or male and female energies with the red blood and the white ore, which is representing the male and female energies coming from the lion's mouth and other lines. So it's definitely, you could be involved with a Leo, or you have a Libran friend around you that's very close to you as a good friend, advising you on what steps to take that are harmonious and not vengeful or spiteful or vindictive. You need to remove yourself from those negative emotions and operate from a pure, balanced sense of purpose, a balanced heart. Then you've got the Six of Cups. So you may hear from this Libran very soon, who you haven't seen for quite a while, or they may have Libra very strongly in their chart. Then we have here, so the cards that I used is the Fairy Tarot I showed before. We're now doing the card with Oracle cards. And the Oracle card that I pulled for the wisdom of the Oracle was the Loyal Heart. So this is double meaning for you've got someone that's got a very loyal heart, and it's the two owls, so they're like pigeon pair. It's fidelity, it's evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. Others will prove that they are faithful to you, and you will in turn commit fully to them. There is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you, and no matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. Your partnerships, friendships, and romantic relationships all have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. And then you've got the last card that I've pulled, which is the Sacred Pool. This reminds me of Excalibur. He's rising out of the water, which is a place in, I think, England, or somewhere like that, somewhere in the northern hemisphere, where this sacred pool has, or claims that that's where Excalibur rose from the watery grave to hand, well, the magical creature that lived in the water handed Excalibur over to Merlin, who then in turn put it into the stone, the sword went into the stone, and then the rightful king had to pull it from the stone. So maybe you have royal leanings, or you've got royal lineage, and they're trying to choose who's going to be the right king or queen. Maybe it's not yet set in stone. It's still undecided, because you've got 5 people vying for the position of the future king or queen based on their true heart. But you will make this decision with emotion, because Sacred Pool is that you could have a lot of deep felt emotions in regards to taking over a sovereign role. A Sacred Pool, 47. So we've got here, I've got to find the card. The Sacred Pool also talks about Ophelia. That's what that picture reminds me of. It's a famous painting in the Renaissance as well. It is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Embody the love you wish to see in the world. When you look into the mirror, do you like what you see? The Sacred Pool card asks that you're focused on self-love and self-esteem. We're all works in progress, so a very detached self-examination made with rigorous honesty is called for now. Reflect by the Sacred Pool and be at peace with yourself. Can you see how far you've come and how magical your life is? Do you notice the spark of the divine shining through your eyes? When you're conscious that you're the embodiment of spirit, it becomes easier to respect yourself and act in good conscience. Then you'll reap the greatest rewards. Your unique service to the world is not only needed but celebrated. See the love within you and know that if you cast it upon the waters, it will return to you tenfold. Be at peace for you and beautiful and loved, and act with surety and confidence, and success shall be yours, whatever your inquiry. So that's a really good card. Success will come to you, and try and be that mirror. So if you've got a Cancer heavily placed in your chart, I know I have Cancer, as well as Pisces and Scorpio. So I've got a lot of water in my chart. And Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, and I've got Scorpio heavy. So Cancerians, and this is very popular, a lot of the movements that Lady Diana used to do, she used to mirror people's behaviours and gestures, so that they would feel a connection and she could get on their level. And they do tend to do that. They mirror other people's energy, because they're trying to communicate that they understand and they are listening, and they have a heartfelt compassion for people and a heartfelt compassion for the person that is talking to them. Cancerians make excellent parents, excellent mothers, and they really would go above and beyond for their children. So that's all I have for you for Leo, for the sun, moon, and rising for fire signs for February 2023.